You are listening to a cassette recording of a channeling session from the Raw Contact, a series of 106 sessions that were conducted between 1981 and 1984, using a form of tuned trance telepathy. Throughout these sessions, a group of entities identified as Ra shared information regarding the Law of One, spiritual evolution, and a variety of esoteric topics through a series of questions and answers. The full text transcript of these recorded sessions can be read for free at lnlresearch.org, where you can also learn more about this audio and its origins. This recording is intended for personal study and is not available for commercial use. Please contact LNL Research if you wish to use this audio in any other way. Raw number 74, October 28th, 1981.
I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite creator. We communicate now.
Could you first please give me the condition of the instrument?
I am wrong. It is as previously stated.
Before I get to new material, last session seems to be a very small error that I corrected then, having to do with the statement that no working comes from it, but only through it. Was this an error in transmission, or what caused this problem?
I am wrong. This instrument, while fully open to our narrow band contact, at times experiences a sudden strengthening of the distortion, which you call pain. This weakens the contact momentarily. This type of increased distortion has been occurring in this instrument's bodily complex with more frequency in the time period which you may term the previous fortnight. Although it is not normally a phenomenon which causes difficulties in transmission. It did so twice in the previous working. Both times it was necessary to correct or rectify the contact.
Could you please describe the trance state as I am somewhat confused with respect to how, when in trance, pain can affect the instrument, since I was of the opinion that there would be no feeling of pain of the bodily complexes in the trance state.
I am Ra. This is correct. The instrument has no awareness of this or other sensations. However, we of Ra use the yellow ray activated physical complex as a channel through which to speak, as the mind-body spirit complex of the instrument leaves this physical shell in our keeping. It is finally adjusted to our contact. However, the distortion which you call pain, when sufficiently severe, mitigates against proper contact. And when the increased distortion is violent, can cause the tuning of the channel to waver. This tuning must then be corrected, which we may do as the instrument offers us this opportunity freely.
In a previous session, there was a question on the archetypical mind that was not fully answered. I would like to continue with the answer to that question. Could you please continue with that, or would it be necessary for me to read the entire question over again?
I am Ra. As a general practice, it is well to vibrate the query at the same space time as the answer is desired. However, in this case, it is acceptable to us that a note be inserted at this point in your recording of these sound vibratory complexes, referring to the location of the query in previous workings. The query, though thoughtful, is in some degree falling short of the realization of the nature of the archetypical mind. We may not teach, learn for any other, to the extent that we become learn teachers. Therefore, we shall make some general notations upon this interesting subject and allow the questioner to consider and further refine any queries. The archetypical mind may be defined as that mind which is peculiar to the logos of this planetary sphere. Thusly, unlike the great cosmic all mind, it contains the material which it pleased the logos to offer as refinements to the great cosmic beingness. The archetypical mind, then, is that which contains all facets which may affect mind or experience. The magician was named as a significant archetype. However, it was not recognized that this portion of the archetypical mind represents not a portion of the deep subconscious, but the conscious mind, and more especially the will. The archetype called by some the high priestess then is the corresponding intuitive or subconscious faculty. Let us observe the entity as it is in a relationship to the archetypical mind. You may consider the possibilities of utilizing the correspondences between the mind, body, spirit in microcosm and the archetypical mind, body, spirit closely approaching the Creator. For instance, in your ritual performed to purify this place, you use the term Vegebura. It is a correct assumption that this is a portion or aspect of the one infinite Creator. However, there are various correspondences with the archetypical mind, which may be more and more refined by the adept. Vegebura is the correspondence of Michael, of Mars, of the positive, of maleness. Vegadula has correspondences to Jupiter, to femaleness, to the negative, to that portion of the tree of life concerned with Ariel. We could go forward with more and more refinements of these two entries into the archetypical mind. We could discuss color correspondences, relationships with other archetypes, and so forth. This is the work of the adept, not the teach learner. We may only suggest that there are systems of study which may address themselves to the aspects of the archetypical mind. And it is well to choose one and study carefully. It is more nearly well if the adept go beyond whatever has been written and make such correspondences that the archetype can be called upon at
I have a question here that I am going to answer and let you correct. I see that the disciplines of the personality feed the indigo ray energy center and affect the power of the white magician by unblocking the lower energy centers and allowing for a free flow of the upward spiraling light to reach the indigo center. Is this correct?
I am wrong. No.
Would you please correct me?
I am wrong. The indigo center is indeed most important for the work of the adept. However, it cannot, no matter how crystallized, correct to any extent whatsoever, imbalances or blockages in other energy centers. They must needs be cleared seriatim from red upwards.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what, if I understand this. The question is, how do disciplines of the personality feed the indigo ray energy center and affect the power of the white magician? Does that question make sense?
I am wrong. Yes,
Would you answer it, please?
I am wrong. We would be happy to answer this query. We understood the previous query as a being of other import. The indigo ray is the ray of the adept. A great deal of the answer you seek is in this sentence. There is an identification between the crystallization of that energy center and the improvement of the working of the mind, body, spirit as it begins to transcend space-time balancing and to enter the combined realms of space-time and time-space.
Let me see if I have a wrong opinion here of the effective disciplines of the personality. I was assuming that a discipline of the personality to, shall we say, have a balanced attitude toward a single fellow entity would properly clear and balance to some extent the orange ray energy center. Is this correct?
I am Ra. We cannot say that you speak incorrectly, but merely less than completely. The disciplined personality, when faced with an other self, has all centers balanced according to its unique balance. Thusly, the other self looks in a mirror, seeing itself.
Now, the disciplines of the personality, I see, as the paramount work of any who have become consciously aware of the process of evolution. Am I correct in that statement?
I am Ra. Quite
what I am trying to get at is how these disciplines affect the energy centers and the power, shall I say, of the white magician. Will you tell me how that works?
I am Ra. The heart of the discipline of the personality is threefold. 1. Know yourself. 2. Accept yourself. 3. Become the creator. The third step is that step which, when accomplished, renders one the most humble servant of all, transparent in personality, and completely able to know and accept other selves. In relation to the pursuit of the magical working, the continuing discipline of the personality involves the adept in knowing itself, accepting itself, and thus clearing the path towards the great indigo gateway to the Creator, to become the Creator is to become all that there is. There is then no, as the consciousness of the indigo ray becomes more crystalline, more work may be done. More may be expressed from intelligent infinity.
You stated that working in service to others has the potential of alerting a great mass of light strength. Could you describe just exactly how this works and what uses of this would be?
I am Ra. There are sound vibratory complexes which act much like the dialing of your telephone. When they are appropriately vibrated with accompanying will and concentration, it is as though many upon your metaphysical or inner planes received a telephone call. This call they answer by their attention to your working.
There are many of these. The ones most obvious in our society are those used in the church rather than those used by the magical adept. What is the difference in the effect of those used, say, in the church, our various churches, and those specifically magical incantations used by the adept?
I am Ra. If all in your churches were adepts, consciously full of will, of seeking, of concentration of conscious knowledge of the calling, there would be no difference. The efficacy of the calling is a function of the magical qualities of those who call. That is their desire to seek. The altered state of consciousness desired.
In selecting a protective ritual, we finally agreed upon the vanishing ritual of the lesser pentagram. I assume that these sound vibratory complexes are of the type you speak for the alerting of those on the inner planes. Is this correct?
I am Ra. This is correct.
If we had constructed a ritual of our own with words used for the first time in the sequence of protection, what would have been the relative merit of this with respect to the ritual that we chose?
I am Ra. It would be less. In constructing ritual, it is well to study the body of a written work which is available for names of positive or service to others' power are available.
I will make an analogy to the loudness of ringing of the telephone as the using the ritual, as the efficiency of the practitioners using the ritual. Now, I see several things affecting the efficiency of the ritual. First, the desire of the practitioners to serve, their ability to invoke the magical personality, their ability to visualize while performing the ritual, and let me ask you as to the relative importance of those items and how each may be intensified.
M, Ra. This query borders upon over specificity. It is most important for the adept to feel its own growth as teach learner. We may only say that you correctly surmise the paramount import of the magical personality. This is a study in itself. With the appropriate emotional will, polarity, and purity. Work may be done with or without proper sound vibration complexes. However, there is no need for the blunt instrument when the scalpel is available.
I assume that the reason that the rituals that have been used previously are of effect is that these words have built a bias in consciousness of those who have worked in these areas, so that those who are of the distortion of mind that we seek will respond to the imprint in consciousness of these series of words. Is this correct?
I am Ra. This is to a great extent correct. The exception is the sounding of some of what you call your Hebrew and some of what you call your Sanskrit vowels. These sound vibration complexes have power before time and space and represent configurations of light which built all that there is.
Why do these sounds have this property?
I am Ra. The correspondence in vibratory complex is mathematical. At this time, we have enough transferred energy for one full query.
How did the users of these sounds, Sanskrit and Hebrew, determine what these sounds were?
I am Ra. In the case of the Hebrew, that entity known as Yahweh aided this knowledge through impression upon the material of genetic coding, which became language, as you call it. In the case of Sanskrit, the sound vibrations are pure due to the lack of previous, what you call alphabet or letter naming. Thus, the sound vibration complexes seemed to fall into place as from the Logos. This was a more, shall we say, natural or unaided a situation or process. We would at this time. Make note of the incident in the previous working where our contact was incorrectly placed for a short period and was then corrected. In the exercise of the fire, you may see the initial spiral clockwise from the green array energy center through the shoulders and head, then through the elbows, then to the left hand. The channel had been corrected before the remainder of this answer was completed. Is there a brief query at this time?
Is there anything we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or improve the content?
I am well. All is well. The instrument continues in some pain, as you call this distortion. The neck area remains most distorted, although the changes have been to a small degree helpful. The alignments are good. We would leave you now, my friends, in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth then, glorying and rejoicing in the power and in the peace the one infinite creator, Adonai.
All right. All right. All right.